Howdy, folks. Rob Halvey with you. It's time for the Gardener's Corner program, a Friday feature here on Channel 191 and WKRX 96.7 FM, also WRXO 1430 AM. We're brought to you today by T.G. Brooks Company, Sandling Golf Cars and Trailers, and E.B. Harris Auctioneering. A special presentation today for you with Mr. Bo Freeman of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. Bo is the director of the Person County office. We hope you are doing well, and thank you for tuning in to the Gardener's Corner program.
Thanks, Rob. It was great having you introduce us. We're doing things a little different today in our radio as well as our TV spots. For those of you on the radio, I will be broadcasting on Spectrum, but we're also learning a lot about how to interact the two mediums before in this new day and new age. As we look at our separation, I'd love to have Rob right beside me, but let's get a little social distancing, and we're going to try to make this as good as we can. So once again, this is the gardening show, so we need to talk a little bit about gardens. Some big news that has occurred recently in that we have reopened up our soil testing. So if you've got soil tests that you've been waiting on or having set on the sidelines, or just thinking that you're looking out there going, that doesn't look exactly right, or you didn't get good blooms on some of your forsythia, or some of the other gardening areas that you've got curiosity on, now's a great time to bring them in. And once again, we're not going to tell you it's going to be next day delivery coming back. However, it gives you an opportunity, because a lot of this materials that we deal with, whether it be in pH and lime and trying to adjust those, which traditionally are one of the larger problems that we have in our soils, takes a while. So now wouldn't be a bad time to go on and get that information and start looking at the possibility of putting in some limes on your field or your garden or even your container plants. There can be adjusted, and once again, nitrogen is one of those that doesn't really make a lot of difference sometimes on what you're testing unless your pH is way off. And if your pH is way off, it's going to tie up the nitrogen, and you're not going to get utilization of your nitrogen. So you're literally wasting your money. So I suggest right now, biggest thing, soil test, so you can do your best. Then, I know last week, Johnny Coley says, I got a lot of phone calls. And the phone calls were about frost. What's going to happen? Well, I talked to Johnny. We have pre-recorded this, so this is actually Wednesday. But I talked to Johnny, and he said, there wasn't a lot of bad news out there. And I'm like, oh, that's good. He says, I've talked to some producers, and there's some spots, and that's what they call the microcosms. Low spots, not a lot of air movement. There's just spots that you're going to get frost quicker than anywhere else. So he was saying that it wasn't widespread, and so a lot of the crops are doing very well. So we dodged a bullet. However, if you have one of these little microcosms and you're looking at your plant going, oh, it's not looking well, it's got those dark green leaves that are sort of distorted, you may want to think about either replanting or just give it a little boost and I mean a little boost. Many people think a little means a lot. No. When you start talking about fertilizers, more does not mean better. I've seen people through the years go, I'm going to put a lot. No, because most of our fertilizers are salt-based. And when we start pouring a lot of fertilizer on these plants, especially when they're young and tender, it can actually kill them. Or the other way around, I've seen people with their tomato plants, just as they were blossoming. I mean, just when it's in that tender stage, they say, I'm going to give it a boost so I can have lots of fruit. And when they put that extra nitrogen on it, traditionally, it blows the blossom off because it's going into a new growth space, the growth phase. And this phase goes, wah, and it's wide open. And so therefore you've lost all your fruit from that quote unquote time until it slows down again. So more does not always mean better when we're talking about garden vegetables. Same type thing with fruits or trees. A lot of people go saying that they want to put more out there. Well, once again, same that type thing. When we put more out there, we have the opportunity to create or stimulate more growth. If the plant thinks it's in a growth state, then it does not produce fruit. And you want fruit because that's what we eat. So remember, there's a balancing act there, and you need to look at those types of things to get it in the right perspective. So now I'm going to try something a little new. For the radio people, it may not be quite as good, but for those that are on the television, here's a really neat website. It's a YouTube site for those of you who are on the web, or excuse me, on radio, and it's North Carolina Extension, and it goes into what they call Homegrown. And this has a lot of videos that if you can get on the internet, the YouTube, it talks a lot about different things. And it's not just growing the crop, it's also eating it and eating it properly. One of the videos I took time to look at yesterday is foraging to the backyard edibles. And we got lots of plants that we can eat in our yard, and we call them weeds. The only thing a weed is a misplaced plant. So let's put it in the right spot in our bowls and let's eat. They did a really good job of going through this and talking about the edible plants and which ones are and which ones aren't. I will go on and say we're a little bit further ahead than these folks, but some of them can still work. Once again, dandelions can be used as part of your salad as long as you're looking at the new growth that hasn't gone through, middle of the summer and you're pulling up dandelions and it's been a little drought stressed. It's going to be a little tart. But right now, when it's growing and blowing, now's a good time to be eating them if you want to. Now remember, try to get what's next to that rosette in the center. The further out you go, the more mature it is, and it's got a little bit more pungent flavor to it. But some people like pungent, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm just saying it's an opportunity there. Also, we also go into, let's get real, how to disinfect, how to keep our kitchens clean. And we're not talking about just the COVID clean. We're talking about the normal clean. Are we transferring E. coli or Listeria in our kitchens from the poultry product to the vegetables? Those are concerns that we have every day, and we need to talk about it. And if you get tired of looking at one hand washing, well, we got a different hand washing. So you may want to let your kids look at some of this stuff. It's a lot of good stuff in here, and it rolls through and talks about many different things. And you can subscribe to this channel, and when they pop a new one up, you can go do it. It's a spotlight that they have, as well as it talks a little bit about 4-H. So I'm going to do 4-H a little bit later in our broadcast, but Now, when we start talking about gardens, planting, we did a little bit here with 4-H, and we helped some kids out. We put them some seeds on the bus, and we put them in nice little packages and said, "Here, you need to grow a garden." We gave them some educational material. We gave them some things out on the web that they could possibly be a part of, so that they could learn how to grow a garden. Now, if you're one of those wonderful parents out there that have been going through everything and you're going, "Oh yeah, we got one of them," don't let the opportunity slip by. Now's a good time to start tilling up that soil, grow some of those sprouts, put them out there, and let the child have an opportunity, which may be the only time we have slowed down enough to grow a garden. And that's one thing Extension knows, that lots more people this year are growing gardens. We've had a lot of people call in, and if you still want to call in, not a problem. Johnny's here and he can sure help you a lot. All you got to do is call in the number of 336-599-1195. Cooperative Extension here in Person County. We're here and ready to help you. No matter what, whatever questions, you can email us. You can take us on the web. And this is one of the things that a lot of people don't realize. We still mail stuff. If you don't have the opportunity to have internet access, you can call up and ask for information, especially Johnny. He can put it together in a heartbeat. Man, it's brilliant. And ship it to you. And lots of things that we look at today, we go, "What are you talking about? How can we do that?" Well, if you've gotten tired of looking at the big screen, now it's time maybe to see some flat paper. Now may be the time to get your hands dirty, to go out there and get some. Now, I will admit, we're running just a little bit late on some of the garden stuff. I wouldn't plant any Irish potatoes right now, or Irish potatoes, because they're a little late in the season. However, when you're sitting there going, "What is he talking about?" We've got a little publication like this, and it actually has a calendar and got all the vegetables listed and what type of year, when they think it'll be harvested, how far apart or how deep it needs to go. A nice little chart. And the reason why it's got so many, and it's color coded for where you are in the state of North Carolina. So we're in the Piedmont. So once again, we're in a different location than the mountains, of course, and then also coast. So we have to break it down with the extension to maybe look at it from different perspectives. But it's one of those that we have to look at this not as a problem. We need to look at it as the opportunity to move forward. Gardening is one of those opportunities. I'll be talking about later on in this where we can move forward in a lot of different respects. So this is where I want to take a little break, and we will let our sponsors talk a little bit about what they've got going on, and I know Rob will do an excellent job. And so I will see you in just a little bit. Thank you.
The month of May is a special month. It's time to see beautiful weather and enjoy it. And May is full-time lawn and garden season, and the time to have some fun and beautify. T.G. Brooks Company has your garden plants, tomatoes, squash, cucumber, watermelon, and so many more, all the popular varieties. They have cantaloupe. And also they have fresh garden seed to put in that garden and get it growing. They have garden flowers. Everybody loves vinca, beautiful vinca, begonias. Get your fresh and ready for planting plants and seeds and garden vegetables at T.G. Brooks Company. And you want to reseed your lawn? How about fresh grass seed? They have fertilizer and lime. If you need mulch, man, they have mulch, even the triple ground. Do you need straw, pine needles? How about potting soil, planting soil, or cow manure? They have spreaders and they have aerators for rent. T.G. Brooks serves the homeowner and the commercial landscaper. They handle everybody with the same courteous service. They can arrange delivery, or you can pull up with your pickup truck, your trailer, and they'll load it up for you. They have bagged products. They'll put them right in your car or van. And remember, they have Bartlett animal feeds, too. It's exciting to see May and enjoy May and the full-time growing season. Go to T.G. Brooks Company. Phone them at 364-2428. They've proudly served the homeowner and the farmer and those in construction since way back in 1936. And they welcome folks from all over Person County, Rougemont, Northern Durham, and of course, all of Southern Person County.
Glad I can be back. I will tell you what, it's a wonderful day outside. It's going to be great this weekend. So now's a good time to be thinking about gardening. And once again, gardening can be inside or out, or in your yard, or in a container. A lot of people don't think about just containers, how easy they are to take care of. I used to pretty good sized garden, and then it never failed. That week of the 4th of July, I didn't quite get there, and the next week, the weeds were taking over, but maybe da-da-da. So by the end of July, 1st of August, it was a mess. So this guy decided not to go that full-fledged route, and I tried mulching and I tried these other things, but if you don't get at it, and when I was in New York, this was an opportunity that we had to go to fair. And then with the extension, I was in the middle of it, so I didn't have time to go play in the garden in the afternoons. So hence, it got left undone. So then we finally learned that let's go container. So we don't have so much stuff to fool with. So if you do little containers and you move them out and move them around, you can do a great job with it. We've got a wonderful publication that goes with this, and it's container gardening. A calendar. Calendars are great. They give you an idea of what you can get and what you can't. Once again, as we talked about, variability, read the label of the plants so that you have an idea of when they need to be planted and where they need to go, and those components. Because when we design out, whether it be a large garden or containers, there's still characteristics that these plants need for you to give them. So in other words, full sunlight. Some plants can take a little shade. Corn, it wants full sunlight. And then there's placements of the plant. Oh, I've loved tomatoes all my life, and they just like it hot. And they just like, once again, you got to keep it watered, but they like it hot. And sunlight, this type of thing. Well, I can remember I had this wonderful garden. And I like shade, personally. So I put it sort of close to the shade tree. Well, inadvertently, it was a walnut tree. And I was too little long, and my tomatoes was doing great. But they happened to be under the drip line of that walnut tree. Drip line, where it drips around the tree. That's the drip line. Boom. Dead. I mean, they were big plants. Oh, they were doing great. They were blowing and going. I'm like, whoa, having great tomatoes. And boom, looked like somebody took scalding water and dumped on. Well, turns out this old boy had to do a little reading. Walnuts don't like tomato plants. So hence, they don't allow them to grow underneath them to a certain stage. So make sure that those types of interactions aren't going to affect you with your plant. So do a little pre-planning, look around, and once again, everybody's got a little different thing on it. Now, this particular publication does give you a listing of when you can plant stuff and when you shouldn't, and the varieties of them, of where we are, what we can do. And once again, I wouldn't be planting carrots right now. Be a little warm for them. They're what they call a cool season crop. So we got warm season crops that you need to be planting right now. So when you see that terminology, basically, they like it cool, they like it hot. Pretty simple. Just remember, you got to keep water in them no matter which side of the fence they like. Also with container gardening, maybe an opportunity right now to buy some, once again, whether you've got topsoil or not, or whether you have to go get it, in depth, and just make sure you have good drainage in your containers. If you don't, they're going to have a problem. And if you like your garden inside, remember when you pour, don't pour too much. If you've got good water's going to go somewhere. Is it going to be a puddle at the end, in the bottom of your container, or a puddle on your floor? So remember to, especially if somebody else is watering for you while you're off on vacation, whenever that may be, to give them good instructions of how much to put, because we get really good at, that's about right. We intuitively know some of these facts. But it went back to my mama when she was trying to teach my brother how to cook. He's like, well, how much flour did you put in there? And she said, about that much. He didn't appreciate that. See, and he was a math major. He won't know exactly. And then she said, well, as you go, beating it, said, if it looks a little moist, you put a little more flour in, and you get it about that way. See this? This is about what you want. And he's just going bonkers, And then she started talking about salt and pepper and, a little of this, little of that, She did it because it came natural. Well, some people can grow plants and they can look and they can see, hey, that's about right. Well, if you're going to be transferring that knowledge, be prepared or make good plants. Take that plant outside. Now remember, you're going to do a shock if you take that plant outside in the middle of summertime and it's been nice in that 70-degree weather, and then it goes outside and it hits that 90-degree weather. And the water uptake's going to be dramatically more because the humidity's going to be less. So you got to put all these things into a container to move it forward. Now, there's another way that you can do some of these containers, somewhat of a container, and that is a square-foot garden outside, raised bed, or you can actually do it in the ground. But a raised bed's pretty simple. This particular one on YouTube that I have featured on the screen for the folks on Spectrum, this is an opportunity that you can look at a lot of stuff. And once again, if you have the web opportunity, go to NC State Garden and pull it up under YouTube, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. And this is just one of them. And then you can subscribe, and you can get, when they pop some new stuff up, it'll go, hey, here you go. So we've got lots of stuff that are moving forward with it. Also within this, there's usually some other pretty good videos on the side that you can work with. This particular one that we have, it basically starts and stops as far as how to design out, how to build it out of cinder blocks. Pretty simple, you know, once again, it's not one of those that it's rocket science. We've been doing it for millenniums, about putting this kind of stuff together and moving it forward within to grow the plants. Agronomists have been around for a long time, but it talks a little bit about soil mixtures as well as measurements and planting the plants. And no matter what kind of garden you have, please remember that some plants need to be on the sunny side and other plants literally want to be underneath so that they get partial shade and where they need to go. So planting of the plants is huge. Corn loves the sunshine, but it'll shade out a whole bunch of stuff. So it usually is one of the taller. However, if you put in an okra, I've seen them get pretty tall too. But those are some plants that you may want to make sure. Also check your plants to make sure that they need to be cross-pollinated. Corn is one of those that it likes a buddy, and it won't so much. And it's better if you put them in blocks and not just two long rows. You'll still get pollination, but you'll get more pollination if you put them in blocks, and therefore they can move back and forth between themselves, and it's not lengthwise. It's like it's the lazy man's way of thinking. It doesn't want to go real far. So if you put them in a block, then the pollen doesn't have to go very far. So just another opportunity to get a few more kernels in there, so you don't have to worry about those things. Also, real quickly, we do work with farmers, and once again, on our website for Person County, we try to put together information, and we get it from a lot of different locations. And so Agronomy Notes is one of those that we plop on every week, I believe. And this one is talking about the tobacco. And we haven't had favorable conditions for tobacco. It's been a little too cold. And this one goes into whether you need to replant or replug your tobacco, and it talks about, you know, how to make that decision, some of the variables that you need to look at. Should I just do the whole field or just do part of it? And, you know, what happens? And then it talks about other things that have come in and hurt the tobacco. And we got a lot of cold dampening off. This also started actually in the greenhouses. So once again, this is coming out of NC State. It's really good. It's direct information. And then at the bottom of it, it talks about some of the stuff that you might be interested in looking at, whether it be investing with the different types of diseases or canning or planning, terms and context, just a lot of different things and programs that are coming up. But our particular website in Person County, we try to keep up to date. And once again, we're doing Backyard Ag 101. This has been a very popular series. We're trying to record it, and so that you can go to the archives and pull some of this stuff up. It's got some really good material in it. And then, like I said, we have lots of things popping up about new things, new webinars that are coming up, things out in the future, Master Gardener training in the spring or in the fall that's coming up. And it's not just about ag. It also has some of the SNAP Ed components that will be coming. Jennifer has been working hard on some of the new recipients who are eligible to get into SNAP Ed. She's got a lot of information on that. So because they're on unemployment and they're eligible now to move into food stamps, there's a different process that has come about recently, and she's got some webinars and some stuff that she's trying to put out to the general public so that they can do it very quickly, and it doesn't have all the component or problem components with it. Also in the next segment, I'll be talking more about 4-H and some of the opportunities that it has on the web. So it's about time for us to take another break, and so it's off back to you, Rob. Thank you.
Sandling Golf Cars and Trailers is located 613 Lewis Street in Oxford. Open for business Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays 9 till 1. Call 919-693-4626, toll free 800-221-9267. Al, Hillary, and Will is there to serve you with all of your golf car needs, new and pre-owned. They also have a large selection of equipment trailers and utility trailers. Also there at Sandling Golf Cars, you will find Wilmington grills. Are you in need of repairs or Trojan batteries? See Dennis and Bradley at Sandling Golf Cars and Trailers, 613 Lewis Street in Oxford. Call 919-693-4626 or toll free 800-221-9267. That's Sandling Golf Cars and Trailers, 613 Lewis Street in Oxford. E.B. Harris Auctioneering, NCAL, announces the annual Warren County Cow Pasture Equipment Auction to be held this Saturday, May 16th at 9 a.m. at 2254 Highway 58, Warrenton, North Carolina. For terms, more information, to register for online bidding, and to see photographs of items up for auction, log on to ebharris.com. You can also call EB at 252-257-2140. Up for auction, tractors, skid steer, combines, trucks, trailers, tillage, hay, and livestock equipment, also irrigation and tobacco equipment, along with cattle, lumber, stock truck bumpers, and more. This Saturday, up for auction, May 16th at 9 a.m. at 2254 Highway 58 in Warrenton. It's the annual Warren County Cow Pasture Equipment Auction. Sign up for online bidding at ebharris.com. Do business with who you know and trust. On-site bidders will be asked to practice social distancing at the auction this Saturday in Warrenton.
Well, I'm glad to be back here, radio friends, and also those people on Spectrum. Once again, we're learning as we go. We're doing a lot of new things, new ways, new things, and all these. And part of it is within the 4-H program. Once again, everybody says, oh, young people can do it, blah, 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 blah. They're going through a lot of these trials and tribulations that everybody else is. And they've been at home a lot longer than they normally have been. So now I've got a project for you. We have 4-H in Person County, 4-H program, where we look at 4-H presentation. And how do we present? On the air. We do recorded, per se, but non-edited, per se, programs that the kids can do. And basically, it's submitting by next week, May the 20th is the deadline. So please contact Michelle if you've got more information or want more information on this. But this gives the kids an opportunity to be better than what we are. Let's get real. We all had to figure out, as far as Zooms, it was a huge jump for a majority of the population. it's a lot easier to do it when you're young, and especially when you're presenting what you're talking about. So this gives an opportunity. We do break up the kids into two different arenas per se. We don't let the old ones go against the young ones. We've got it where we divide them out, and we've got judges, and we're going to do it the right way and have a competition. And it should be done well. So remember, Person County 4-H presentations are due next Wednesday, May the 20th, so we can get those things put together and move ahead as pretty quick as we can. Now, also, 4-H is still moving. People think, what? No, we're still moving. We may not be meeting per se, but we're still moving. We're doing a lot of stuff. And this is where we look at the STEM projects. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Heard those before, huh? Something about kids and STEM always go together. Once again, some people say STEAM, and they put in a few more. I think it's ag, but that's me, into it. But we got a photography contest. And the photography contest is one that you can have a good feel for. Once again, it's not what you can find, but what you can take. And we have criteria set up on how well they've done, how good it was, whether it's, fuzzy, centered, or on the thirds, or all those components that the judges look at to score to find out who may be the best. And that being said, we've got it set up where there's some categories. And categories are 4-H'ers in action, or nature's beauty, and pets in action. Those are always good. And we also, just like presentation, break it down into different age groups so that the juniors, which are 8-year-olds through 13, will not be competing against the seniors, which are 14 through 18. So it's one of those that we've got contest rules sitting on the sidelines. We need to have this put together before the end of June. So think about going out and taking some pictures if you're in 4-H so that you can show off some of your talents and skills and progress on how to take those pictures. And then when people sit back there and go, well, I don't know how to take pictures, I've never done that kind of thing before, then that gives always, gives an opportunity for people to find out more. And those of you who are on the television are saying that I pulled up a YouTube channel, North Carolina 4-H. And it actually has a series on basic photography. And we don't, let's get real, we don't say, oh, you can't go in there just for 4-H'ers. If some more mature people would like to find out more, or younger people would like to find out more about how to do basic photography, these are some educational videos that can help you out. Also, while we're sitting on this page, we've got all sorts of what they call spark activities. And these are lined up throughout the week per se. And next week, Spark will be focusing in on certain activities that will be moving forward. But it's everything from a scavenger hunt to it rains, it pours, or farm day adventure. They're actually going to do one for a potato farm. They're going to go out and look at it and talk more about what's going on at that potato farm. And then they've got Rocky Candy, Candy Rocky. These are all, once again, set up during the day next week. Now, they've been doing these things for 8 weeks now. This will be the 9th next week. So they've got them saved. And that's where the people on the television can see that we've got an animal science Spark series. And it's talking about horses. Now, horses on video. But we've got a North Carolina horse program that's pretty doggone good. And they talk about different components. And once again, we're looking at 30-minute videos ballpark that the kids can go on. And it's a safety checklist. It gets it into their heads about, oh, I got to put the helmet on. I got to tighten the cinch. I've got to check this. I need to check that. Those are some of the things that they need to work with and work on as they go through. So it's an opportunity for them to get a little education outside of what we call the formal education, but also we're learning science. We're learning technologies. We're doing a little engineering. And there's a little bit of math involved. Now, in the actual hands-on event, you don't understand that, but in the background, there's always some good STEM in agriculture or in the horse program or in the other programs that we've been talking about. Now, once again, for those who are on the television, this one's a lot better. Vermiculture composting. So it's lots of stuff. And lo and behold, we're still back to hand washing. Hand washing, that's the unique one, huh? And we go back a little bit and it talks about good vibration. We even have a section on this YouTube channel that talks about tips for the ACT. We're trying to help kids in any way we can, or should I say youth. They're not kid. Kid is an offspring of a goat. We need to talk about youth and youth development and what's bugging them and how to help out and move forward. And then this is one of those that, going back old time. I enjoyed watching the one that talked about making a origami football. I hadn't played football since my children were very young, where you spin it and you thump the piece of paper. Great time to do that. Whether you're going for 3 or going for 6, it's an opportunity for you to interact with your kids and just have fun. And sometimes it's non-physical. It's wonderful just to have fun. So opportunities abound within the 4-H program. These are just some of the things that are coming down. Also, if they'll let us, well, we're going to do some trips. And that being said, North Carolina has a citizenship focus. Well, in years past, we went somewhere, but now we're going to be doing some programming as far as Zoom, and we're actually doing some pen pals and working with some other people. Once again, if you'd like to be involved in the citizenship short course, something a little different, something that we can do that in years past we couldn't. But get a hold of Michelle and she can give you more information about it. But it's going to be June the 15th through the 17th from 1 till 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and you'll Zoom it. There's really no cost, but you do need to register so that they know that you're there. And it's for 13 through 18-year-olds, 4-H program people to work with. One of the fun things that they're going to be doing as far as virtual, and I'm, as a old dairy judge, cattle judge myself, I'm going, So they took the real thing, going out there and looking at the cows and judging them first, second, third, fourth, and then they took the Horde's Dairyman pictures and sort of combined them. So they've got somewhat of a hybrid. And they'll be doing judging activities. Oops, we'll go there. Okay. For Horde's Dairyman, and they're going to be doing an actual virtual dairy show, dairy judging, and dairy quiz bowl. These will be done at the end of June, so you need to register in the first part of June. So once again, give Michelle a call, and she can help you out on that. Now, I can't get away from, COVID. We've got some resources on the state level that talk about COVID, and it's some of the stuff that we just talked about, but it also goes into farming resources. It's not easy for any of us. And once again, it's a possibility of some grants that are out there and some 4-H stuff. State Farmers Market, continuing what they're doing. There's lots of great information on the North Carolina Extension COVID website that you can get to from our website if you want to. Also, don't forget about, I'll get there in just a second, Person County's website. It's got some really good information on it about local stuff that's going on just here. And when you poke on it, it's COVID, and it talks about how it's affecting Person County and what we do and what we can be involved with. And it's got all sorts of stuff. And it talks about the facts and figures. And it's updated daily. So what may be today won't be tomorrow, but it gives you a more accurate, and once again, this is Wednesday's numbers. I got to remember to tell you that I'm recording this on Wednesday. So Friday could be totally different. So, but it gives you an understanding of what's out there, what's new, the messages from the Person County Economic Development. They've got video, we've got resources here, all sorts of stuff. It even talks about Wi-Fi access points that's out there. And then if all else fails, we got some phone numbers you can call. Here in Person County, they've done a bang-up job, or we've done a bang-up job of getting organized and getting the stuff out there for people. It's 24/7, 365 days a year. Doesn't make any difference. You can call these folks up, and they can try to help you or get you some answers on what your questions are about it. It also has a little bit of global dashboard with it that I thought was fun. And then if you want to just touch base with some of the government agencies that may be working within it, it's got a really great listing of all of them, and you can go directly to them as far as the web is concerned, or Twitter or Facebook, and move forward with that. That being said, here in Person Extension, we have, sorry about that, I'm doing mine first, but we have a Facebook page. And this is up and running, and we're trying to keep it somewhat, this is where, looking at the background, here we go. It is letting you know about what some of these kids have done. Once again, we had our livestock show, and this is the recognition of those kids and their livestock projects. And they were rewarded for doing that. And most of them, once again, we're working in a different way. We're trying to recognize those young people in any ways that we can, and this is one way within the Facebook feed to try to get them out there. Also, Jennifer's been working on the components as far as kids' kitchen skills, those things. So we're moving forward with those. And I will be remiss if I did not talk about a little bit on, hey, don't forget, it's a great time to cut. If the weather looks good, I used to always talk about the hay this time of year is and will will pay dividends as far as nutrition. If you want something to beat a snowball, wait till July to cut it. You'll get a lot of it, but it won't be worth a whole lot. So I would suggest, if you hadn't already greased up those hay rakes and all that other stuff, be working on it, because it's a great opportunity to get some good nutritious hay. We also have hay sampling equipment, and Kim would love to work with you as far as trying to teach you how to sample round bales, square bales, whatever. It gives you a better idea of what the nutritional needs are. She can help you with that from your cattle, beef animals especially, and then also what you're feeding them and what the difference is. And it may make a big difference. One or two little things can be the limiting factor. So this is all we've been doing as far as extension here in Person County. Cooperative Extension is part of Person County, also the NC State, as well as the USDA. We're a cooperative agency that open our doors to everyone. So please reach out to us. If you'd like to, give us a call at 336-599-1195 here at the Person County office, and we're located just across from the Parks and Rec, so not hard to come see us. So hope you'll have a great rest of the day and a good weekend. Thank you.